You are bleeding, not physically. You are losing energy. You are losing time. You are pouring your own sanity into the void of other people's opinions. Every time you scroll, you care. Every time you try to explain yourself to someone determined to misunderstand you, you care. Every time you lie awake at 3 a.m., replaying a conversation from 2018, analyzing your tone, wondering if you sounded too harsh or too awkward, you are paying a tax you cannot afford. You believe this is normal. You call it empathy. You call it being a good person. You call it conscience. Machiavelli would call it slavery. He would look at the modern man anxious, neurotic, starving for validation, terrified of cancellation, and he would see a creature that has been domesticated, a creature that has forgotten how to hunt because it is too busy worrying whether the herd approves of him. We are told that not caring is an illness, that it signals depression, sociopathy, or a lack of morals. We are told that the more we care, the more virtuous we become. That is the lie that keeps you weak. The power to not care is not a flaw. It is a superpower. It is the ultimate weapon in a world built to harvest your attention. It is the difference between the king and the courtier. The courtier worries about everything, the whispers, the rumors, the favors. The king cares only about the empire. You are here because you are tired. You are exhausted by the weight of your own expectations. You feel a constant, low hum of anxiety because your biological wiring is convincing you that everything matters. It doesn't. Most things are noise. Most people are distractions. Most creeds are illusions. To reclaim your life, you must learn the art of coldness. This is not about becoming evil. It is not about becoming a monster. It is about emotional economy. It is about applying the ruthless strategic wisdom of Niccolo Machiavelli to your own inner state. I am going to show you how to cut the nerves that connect you to things that do not serve you. I am going to teach you how to look at chaos and feel nothing but clarity. But be warned, once you flip this switch, you cannot flip it back. You will lose friends. You will distance people who rely on your weakness to feel strong. You will become a ghost to the drama that fuels the average life. If you are ready to stop bleeding, listen. Before we can apply the philosophy, we must understand the trap. Why do you care? Why does a cruel comment from a stranger ruin your day? Why does the disapproval of a parent you don't even agree with paralyze you? It is because you are biologically wired to be a coward. For 200,000 years, human beings lived in tribes of 50 to 150 people. In that environment, caring meant survival. If the tribe rejected you, you did not simply feel sad. You died. You starved. Or you were eaten by predators. Your brain developed a threat detection system that treats social rejection as a literal threat of death. When someone ignores your message, your amygdala, the lizard brain, shouts exile, danger, death. But you do not live in a tribe of 50 people anymore. You live in a world of billions. You exist inside a digital panopticon where you are exposed to the opinions of thousands of strangers every single day. Your hardware is outdated. You are running Stone Age software inside a Space Age reality. You treat a rude email like a saber-toothed tiger. You treat a social media ratio like a famine. You flood your body with cortisol and adrenaline over things that cannot truly harm you. Machiavelli understood this human weakness. In The Prince, he observed that men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, and covetous. He did not say this to be cruel. He said it to be accurate. He understood that men are ruled by fear, especially the fear of losing their status. Most people spend their entire lives trying to manage this fear. They shapeshift. They apologize when they have done nothing wrong. They say yes when they want to scream no. They become puppets, dancing to the strings of their own biological anxiety. The first step toward not caring is realizing that your feelings often lie. That tightness in your chest is not intuition. It is a glitch. That urge to explain yourself is not integrity. It is a survival mechanism for a world that no longer exists. You must see your emotions not as commands but as suggestions. And most of the time they are bad suggestions. When you feel the impulse to care, to worry, to fix, or to please, you must pause. You must examine that impulse with the cold detachment of a scientist observing a virus under a microscope. Interesting. You say, my brain thinks I am in danger, but I am simply in a meeting. Separate the sensation from the reality. This is the first cut. There is a story about an ancient king who was insulted by a peasant in the town square. The peasant shouted, through mud, and called the king a tyrant, a thief, a bastard. The king's guards drew their swords, ready to slaughter the man. The king raised a hand. He did not look at the peasant. He did not stop walking. He did not change his expression. He simply continued speaking with his advisor, stepping over the mud as if it were nothing more than a puddle of rain. Later, the guard asked, Your Majesty, why did you let him live? Why didn't you defend your honor? The king replied, If I stop to kick every barking dog, I shall never reach my destination. And besides, the lion does not concern himself with the opinions of the sheep. This is the Machiavellian law of disdain. Robert Greene, a modern student of Machiavelli, expressed this idea perfectly. Disdain is the privilege of the king. When you care, you acknowledge. When you acknowledge, you validate. If you become angry at an insult, you are admitting that the insult hurt you. You are admitting that the person who delivered it has power over you. You are essentially saying your opinion matters enough to alter my emotional state. You have lifted them to your level. The art of not caring is the art of subtraction. You remove them from your reality. This is not the same as ignoring them while you burn with anger inside. That is suppression. Suppression is weakness. Suppression leads to cancer and ulcers. I am speaking about genuine disdain. The feeling you experience when a fly buzzes near your ear. You do not hate the fly. You do not argue with the fly. You do not write a long message to the fly explaining why it is disrespectful. You simply swat it away or move aside. The fly is insignificant. How do you reach this state? You must adopt the view from above. This is a Stoic technique that Machiavelli used in his political strategy. Imagine your life 10 years from now. Will this matter? Imagine your life from the perspective of history. Does this argument matter? Imagine the heat death of the universe. Does this awkward silence matter? Zoom out until the person irritating you appears like an ant. It is difficult to care about the opinions of an ant. Machiavelli taught that a prince must preserve his majesty. Majesty is destroyed by pettiness. You cannot be majestic while you are petty. You cannot be powerful while you are easily offended. The next time someone disrespects you, tries to guilt you, or attempts to bait you into an argument, try this. Do nothing. Look at them. Blink slowly. Then return to what you were doing. Do not frown. Do not roll your eyes. That is still a reaction. Just nothing. The void. This silence terrifies people. They want friction. They want conflict. They want you to care so they can feel important. When you deny them your reaction, you deny them their existence. You turn them into ghosts. You will feel a surge of power in your chest when you do this. It is the power of the sovereign. You have preserved your energy. You have preserved your peace. And you have won the war without drawing a sword. Let's talk about resources. You have a limited amount of money. You would not walk down the street throwing $100 bills at every stranger you see. Would you? You would not burn your wallet because someone looked at you the wrong way. Yet, this is exactly what you do with your emotional energy. Mark Manson popularized this idea, but the root of it is pure Machiavelli. Your care, to your attention, your emotional investment are a finite currency. Every day, you wake up with a certain number of care coins. You spend 10 coins being angry at traffic. You spend 20 coins worrying about what your boss thinks of your shirt. You spend 50 coins arguing with a stranger in the YouTube comments. You spend 15 coins feeling guilty that you did not go to the gym. By 2 Pete M. You are bankrupt. You have nothing left for your real goals. You have nothing left for your family. You have nothing left for your empire. You are emotionally insolvent. The Machiavellian strategist is a miser with his energy. He is frugal. He hoards his care the way a dragon hoards gold. He does not spend his care on things he cannot control. He does not spend his care on the past. He does not spend his care on fools. He invests his care. He examines a situation and asks, if I invest my emotion in this, what is the ROI, return on investment? If I get angry at this traffic, will the cars move faster? No. ROI 0. Cost high. Verdict: do not care. If I worry about this presentation, will it help me prepare better? Yes. Up to a point. ROI high. Verdict: care enough to prepare. Then stop. If I argue with this relative about politics, will they change their mind? No. ROI negative. Verdict: do not care. This demands a ruthless audit of your life. You must look at everything that stresses you and ask, is this essential to my mission? If the answer is no, you must cut it. This is where people struggle. They say, but I have to care about my mother-in-law's opinion. She's family. No, you do not. You must treat her with respect because you are a disciplined man. You must be polite. But you do not have to care. There is a massive difference between action and attachment. You can visit the hospital. You can bring flowers. You can say the correct words. But you do not have to let the sadness consume you. You do not have to let the drama infect your blood. This is the concept of the cold surgeon. Imagine you are lying on the operating table. You are dying. Who do you want performing the surgery? Surgeon A. He loves you. He cares about you deeply. He is crying. His hands are trembling because he is terrified of losing you. He is frantic with emotion. Surgeon B. He does not know your name. He does not care about your life story. He is thinking about his golf game later. But he is a master with the scalpel. He is calm. He is cold. He is precise. You choose Surgeon B every single time. You must become Surgeon B in your own life. When you care too much, your hands tremble. You make mistakes. You overcompensate. You grow desperate. When you stop caring about the outcome and focus only on execution, you become steady. You become lethal. Machiavelli said, fortune is a woman, and if you wish to keep her under, it is necessary to beat and lose her. Now remove the 16th century misogyny and look at the deeper truth. Luck favors the bold, and the bold are rarely the ones worrying about safety. The bold are the ones who act with a certain disregard for consequence. When you approach life with a take-it-or-leave-it attitude, the world begins to chase you. When you approach a negotiation willing to walk away, you secure the best deal. When you approach a romantic interest without needing their validation, they become fascinated with you. Detachment is magnetic. Neediness is repulsive. Stop spending your currency on people who do not even know you exist. Save it for the things that build your throne. Let's go darker. Dr. Kevin Dutton wrote a book called The Wisdom of Psychopaths. He argued that psychopathy is not only a disorder, it is a dial. On one end of the dial, you have the empath, the victim, the person who feels everyone's pain. They are paralyzed. On the other end, you have the serial killer, total absence of empathy, total chaos. But there is a middle ground, the functional psychopath. These are the CEOs, the special forces soldiers, the top surgeons, the high-stakes lawyers. They have the ability to turn the empathy dial down when necessary. They can fire someone without losing sleep, not because they are evil, but because it is necessary for the company. They can snipe a target without hesitation, not because they enjoy killing, but because it is the mission. Machiavelli was the architect of this mindset. He taught that a prince must learn how not to be good. Note the phrasing, not how to be bad. How not to be good. There is a difference. Being good in the modern sense means being harmless. It means being nice. It means sacrificing yourself for others. Machiavelli says, if you are always good in a world that is not good, you will be destroyed. To become mentally untouchable, you must cultivate your inner shadow. You must be capable of coldness. You must be able to look at a friend who is pulling you down, a friend you have known for years, and say, I love you, but I cannot have you in my life anymore. And then cut the cord. That requires a touch of the psychopath. It requires you to prioritize your survival over their feelings. Most people cannot do this. They remain in toxic relationships for years. They stay in dead-end jobs because they do not want to disappoint the boss. They allow their parents to control their lives because they fear the guilt. They are slaves to their own empathy. You must learn to weaponize your empathy. Turn it on when you are with your children. Turn it on when you are with your loyal partner. Turn it on when you are creating art. But when you step into the world of business, conflict, or strategy, turn it off. Become the mirror. Hard, reflective, unemotional. This is not easy. It feels unnatural at first. You will feel guilty. You will feel like a fraud. Good. That means the programming is resisting. Push through it. The first time you say no without explaining yourself, your heart will race. The second time, it will race less. The third time, you will feel a rush of dopamine. You will realize the sky did not fall. I am still here, and I am stronger. You are training your nervous system to endure the cold. Just as a Wim Hof practitioner sits in an ice bath to master his body, you must sit in the social ice bath of disapproval to master your mind. Let them think you are arrogant. Let them think you are distant. Let them think you have changed. You have stopped being food. How do you practically do this in the heat of the moment? When the pressure builds, when the panic begins to rise, you need a mechanism to eject from the cockpit of your emotions. I call this entering the observation state. Most people live in the experience state. They are their feelings. I am angry. I am sad. The Machiavellian shifts to the observation state. I notice that there is anger in my body. See the difference. One is identity. The other is data. When you are in the experience state, you are a leaf in the wind. The wind blows. You move. When you are in the observation state, you are the mountain watching the wind. Practice this visualization. You are sitting in a movie theater. On the screen is your life. You are watching a character who looks like you, carries your name, and is currently being yelled at by a boss. Watch the character on the screen. See their face turn red. See their hands tremble. But you are in the audience. You are eating popcorn. You are watching the drama. But you are not inside the drama. From the seat in the theater, you can make rational decisions. The character should probably just stay quiet and let the boss run out of steam. That is the strategic move. But if you are on the screen, you cannot think. You simply react. Machiavelli wrote his greatest works in exile. He was tortured on the rack. His arms were dislocated. He was thrown into a dungeon. He lost his status, his money, his power. And yet, he did not die of despair. He went home, washed the mud from his clothes, put on his royal court robes, and sat down to write. He entered the observation state. He looked at his own torture and said, "What can I learn from this? How does power actually work?" He turned his pain into a project. He did not care about his suffering. He cared about the lesson within the suffering. This is the ultimate alchemy. When you stop caring about how a situation feels and begin caring about what a situation teaches, you become invincible. You lose your job. Experience state, I am a failure. My life is over. Panic. Observation state. This is a forced tactical pivot. The market is shifting. I have 3 months of savings. I need to acquire a new skill. Let's analyze the data. She leaves you. Experience state, I am unlovable. I will die alone. Observation state. The dynamic was unstable. My attachment was based on scarcity. This pain is the breaking of a dependency addiction. I will endure the withdrawal and emerge autonomous. Do you see the power? The observation state transforms tragedy into strategy. It turns, why is this happening to me, into how can I use this? It turns caring into calculating. And the calculator does not cry. The calculator does not panic. The calculator simply solves the equation. Here is the question that always follows. If I do not care, will I become lazy? If I do not care, why would I accomplish anything? This is the binary trap of the average mind. They believe the only fuel for ambition is anxiety. They think you must fear poverty to become rich. They think you must crave fame to become an artist. Machiavelli would laugh at this. The greatest leaders, The greatest conquerors did not operate from anxiety. They operated from will. There is a massive difference between I need this to survive and I choose this because I am powerful. When you need the outcome, you are weak. You are tense. You play not to lose. When you choose the outcome, you are relaxed. You play to win. Think of a sniper. Does he care about the target? Yes. He intends to hit it. But does he care emotionally? Is he angry at the target? Is he worried about what the target thinks of his rifle? No. If he brings emotion into the shot, he misses. He cares about the process. He cares about the wind, the breathing, the trigger squeeze. He is hyper-focused, yet emotionally detached. This is the state you must reach. You must care intensely about your actions and not at all about the results. This sounds like a contradiction. It is a paradox. You wake up every day and work harder than anyone else. You grind. You strategize. You execute with violence of action. But if it fails, you shrug. Next, you do not tie your self-worth to the outcome. You tie your self-worth to the discipline. If you build a business and it collapses, you are not destroyed because you are the builder, not the building. The building can fall. The builder can simply build another one. Machiavelli studied Cesare Borgia, a ruthless commander. Borgia was incredibly ambitious. He conquered cities. He maneuvered armies. But he moved with fluid adaptability. When fortune turned against him, he did not complain. He adapted. He understood that the world is chaos. You cannot force the world to obey you. You can only position yourself to ride the wave. If you care too much about a specific outcome, I must get this specific promotion, you become rigid. You miss other opportunities. You try to force a door that is locked while a window is open right beside you. The art of not caring is the art of fluidity. I will succeed. I do not know how, and I do not care which path takes me there. I am married to the mission, not the method. This makes you dangerous because you cannot be disappointed. You can only be redirected. To truly master this, you must become comfortable with being the villain in other people's stories. When you stop caring, people will accuse you of being cold. They will say you have changed. They will say you are selfish. Accept it. Own it. Yes, I am selfish. I am protecting myself. Because if I don't, who will? We live in a society that fetishizes self-sacrifice. We are taught to set ourselves on fire to keep others warm. Machiavelli teaches us that a prince who destroys himself for the sake of his subjects ends up helping no one. If the prince falls, the kingdom falls into chaos. Your first duty is to your own stability. This requires you to build a fortress of solitude inside your mind, a place where no one else's voice can enter. In this fortress, you are the only judge. You are the only jury. Most people have a committee in their heads. What would my dad think? What would my ex think? What would society think? Fire the committee. Empty the room. Sit on the throne of your own mind alone. When you make a decision, it must come from you, not from a desire to please, not from a fear of judgment, but from your own calculated will. This is lonely. I will not lie to you. The air is thin at the top. When you stop playing the social games, you realize how fake most connections are. You realize that most friendships are just mutual anxiety pacts. I'll validate your delusion if you validate mine. When you stop needing validation, those friendships dissolve. Let them go. You are making space for something better. You are making space for respect. People respect the man who does not need them. People chase the woman who does not need them. By becoming a fortress, you become a destination. People will come to you to seek shelter because they can sense that you are solid. They can sense that you are not swayed by the wind. Your lack of caring becomes their security. The Stoics had a practice called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Machiavelli would approve of this. Part of the reason you care so much is that you are hoping for the best. You are terrified of the worst. I hope I don't get fired. I hope she doesn't leave. I hope I don't embarrass myself. Hope is fear in disguise. Hope implies that you need the outcome to be good in order to be okay. Kill hope. Replace it with acceptance. Every morning, look at the darkness. I could be fired today. I could be betrayed today. I could lose everything today. Visualize it, feel it, and then accept it. If that happens, I will handle it. I will survive. I have been through worse. Once you have accepted the worst-case scenario, you are free. You have nothing left to lose. A man who has already accepted his own death cannot be threatened. A man who has already accepted bankruptcy cannot be blackmailed. You become weightless. You walk into the meeting not hoping to survive, but ready to conquer. Because what are they going to do? Fire you. You've already mentally fired yourself. You've already packed your box. You are immune. This is the ultimate Machiavellian power move, to look at the worst fate can throw at you and say, is that all? When you stop fearing the dark, you own the dark. We arrive at the final state, the 0 point. This is not nihilism. Nihilism says, nothing matters, so I will rot. The 0 point says, nothing matters, so I am free to create meaning. If the universe is empty, if people are fickle, if legacy is dust, then the only thing that matters is this moment and your will. You realize that caring was just a cage you built for yourself. You unlock the door. You step out. The sun is shining. The air is cold. You look at the people rushing around, staring at their phones, terrified, angry, desperate, and you feel light. You realize that you are playing a game you can walk away from at any time. You realize that your reputation is just a story people tell. You realize that your failures are just plot twists. You realize that your pain is just sensation. You are the player, not the character. You pick up the controller. You decide to play the game of life with full intensity, but with zero attachment. You laugh when you lose. You smile when you win. But you never forget that it is just a game. This is the art of not caring. It is not about being numb. It is about being awake. It is about looking at the absurdity of existence and choosing to dance on the edge of the abyss rather than cowering in the corner. Machiavelli smiled in the face of fortune. He knew she was cruel. He knew she was wild, but he didn't hide from her. He danced with her. And so must you. So tomorrow morning, you will wake up. The anxiety will try to creep in. The emails will scream for your attention. The world will try to put its hook in your mouth. What will you do? Will you bite? Will you let them drag you back into the noise? Or will you remember the king stepping over the mud? Will you remember the surgeon? Will you remember that you are the architect of your own reality, and you can choose to close the door? The choice is yours. But remember, the price of freedom is the willingness to be disliked. The price of power is the willingness to walk alone. Are you willing to pay it? Most aren't. But you might be different. If this woke something up in you, understand this is only the surface. I have to be careful with what I say here. There are deeper, darker strategies of psychological warfare and emotional control that I simply cannot share on the public channel. The algorithm punishes the truth. These uncensored lessons are behind the join button. If you are tired of being the sheep and you are ready to become the wolf, click join. Step into the architect level. You will unlock the forbidden knowledge that the world tries to hide from you. Most people will scroll past. They want to stay asleep. Let them. But if you want the keys to the kingdom, I'll see you on the inside. Subscribe. Disappear. Build.